Got it. That is up. Let's see. All right, everything's recorded. Okay. And welcome to a new episode of The Creative Brew, giving you insights on your creative journey. Today we have Leon Dawes. He is the creator and writer of Soul Stones, the Ecclesiastics, Mistress of Souls. Got the chance to check it out, and really interesting book. Got a lot of definitely supernatural vibes to it. Actually, a mix of supernatural and spirituality, which is really cool. But I'm gonna let Leon sort of talk about his story, his ideals, his concept on how this book even started, and just everything else that he's got going on.
Okay, well, thank you, Quanto. I appreciate you, right? Am I,
Yep, Quantel.
yeah, okay. Making sure, or just say Q, but I just make sure I get it right.
You
All
can
right.
you can say that too.
Well, first of all, I want to say thanks. I had the pleasure of meeting you at the book signing last month in October at Stronghold Comics in Oceanside, and I got to tell you, it's always awesome to meet new people. I think the thing about comics is that it brings you to new people, and it helps you to kind of open up to people, and because people are interested in why you came up with an idea or a concept, and sometimes they can relate to that, and I'm glad they can, because I don't want them to just feel like they're reading something boring, but reading something they can maybe relate to or learning from what they're reading, and getting creating their own opinion about it. My opinion about Soul Stones personally, uh, the whole book, the character Ecclesiastes, it's not a religious book per se. It's a very esoteric book. So we do a lot with spirituality, magic, spells, the ancient world. There's a lot of flashbacks in the series where the main character who's Ecclesiastes, she is an angel. So angels pretty much have been around for a long time. So they've seen everything. So the main character, Ecclesiastes, she comes to Earth for the first time in human form and flesh. So for many centuries, she's always wondered why humans do the things that we do, and she could never really understand it. Standing back, looking in, but now that she's in it, she's not standing back looking in anymore. She's a part of it. So she transforms in this fleshly form called, her name is Deborah St. Anthony. And Deborah has these encounters with humans. She's learning what love feels like, what hunger feels like what being betrayed feels like, what sex feels like, and all the earthly pleasures and things that humans go through, negative, good, and bad. She's learning that. And she's learning how to cope with that while at the same time battling a necromancer, a sorceress, and a witch, which is Pele Blue, Nephedra, and Ramsonai. She transforms into Ecclesiastes to do that, and she uses her celestial, angelic powers and weaponry to do that. But it's always hard for her she's teeter-tottering back and forth between fighting evil, and when she transforms on Earth to kind of learn man, to help man redeem man, at the same time she's battling these feelings, all the things that humans go through. And some are exciting, some she doesn't like. She's constantly battling that. She's constantly getting advice from, God and her other angelic peers. And ultimately, she's here to keep the Nephilim from being reestablished on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Now, and for people that may not be, like I said, I tend to, I researched, a lot on, just on a lot of esoteric, knowledge
Yes.
and spirituality, and so for people that may not know, who are the Nephilim?
Nephilim are, and this is just from my research, we're still learning and exploring things of the Nephilim. I was reading the other night about them. The Nephilim are basically the offspring of fallen angels mating with earthly women. So they had these children, which were the Nephilim. Excuse me. And some of this will be in theory in the series. I mean, we tap based on Atlantis, we tap based on other things in Greek mythology that I personally think they were dealing with fallen angels, and they just kind of gave them names. That's just my own personal opinion. But the Nephilim were here. They wreaked havoc. They were giants. There's been scientific proof there have been giants. Some of it's been trying to kind of be removed, I think, purposely to keep people kind of in the dark about it. But a lot of it's being rediscovered. And they had supernatural powers because they were half angel. And the Nephilim were the offspring of these fallen angels. And these fallen angels did a lot of things that make God very happy. So they wanted to mess up the human gene pool, which is what they tried to do with the Nephilim. And they were not only, mating or like just making out with humans. I'm learning they were actually screwing around with the animals and things of that nature. So that's how we get a lot of things like I said, like I believe mermaids and a half man, half horse type thing, minotaur, centaurs, things like that. I think they were just wreaking havoc all over the place, and they had to be eradicated, which is why I think the flood came about, the whole Noah's Ark thing. So we explore a lot of that in the series, and I think that people will learn while enjoying what they're reading, and that's what I want ultimately. And I want people to kind of go out on their own too, and check it out, Google it. What does this mean? And just get a clear understanding of what's going on. Makes the book more enjoyable.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely agree on that. So with the main concept, I mean, I know, I know from the book, the character Ecclesiastics is based around your mom.
Yes,
What was,
exactly.
as far as what qualities? I mean, I know as far as like developing the character, like what
Right.
things really, represent, those aspects. What represents, how's that, being represented, like even with your mom?
My mom actually, the character Ecclesiastes went through a series of development as a little boy, very early on. My mom and I were both victims of domestic violence. So when I was younger, I used to always draw, and I liked it. For me, it was very therapeutic. And I used to watch and see my mom go through a lot of abuse. And there was no real outlet at that time because we were kind of in the projects, and you know, um, there was no real way to do. I couldn't really talk to a lot of people because in fear of them trying to maybe take me or my brothers away from our mom. So I had to find an outlet. For me, I watched a lot of the you know shows at that time. You got the Incredible Hulk and Batman and Spider-Man and Wonder Woman. And I used to draw a lot. And my mom, I used to watch her a lot of time. She was kind of like a version of Wonder Woman to me, sort of. Just that she was really just strong. She didn't just give up. She would be making meals with black eyes and just always praying a lot and constantly kept us in church and just praying a lot. That was her outlet. And I started developing this character around her with the combination of everything I was watching on TV and just elements of what she was doing. And I came up with Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes, the name itself means to address an assembly. And there's another version of it too, but I liked it. And that's what I wanted this character to do, address an assembly, which is mankind is the assembly that she's going to be addressing. She's coming to earth here to address. So um, that's the reason, that's the actual inspiration for Ecclesiastes. So that's where I'm at with it. I mean, it may speak to a lot of different people in different ways, which is okay, but that's how she came about.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's yeah, especially with something like that. I mean, I think in with people in households like that. I know even me included. That
Right.
happened, and yeah, for me, reading, drawing, that was an
Right.
outlet.
Right.
You really couldn't just go out and be like, hey, this is happening.
Right.
I think
No, this is
now
going
that I
down.
think that
Right.
now that stigma is starting to open up a little bit more,
Yeah.
but back then it was, I mean, especially in African American homes and
Oh
communities.
yeah, it was.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
Right.
so yeah, it's definitely having that outlet.
Right.
I mean, I think and I know I tell it a lot, and even in my podcast that like art, creativity like that saved my life. I mean,
Yes. Yes,
easily
you better
could have went
believe
the
it.
other route
Yes,
and sort of used that pain and frustration.
yeah,
And
refocus it.
yeah, and so
Mhm.
I think having a really healthy and productive outlet like that, I think is detrimental, especially for you, but for other youth that may be dealing with that.
Dealing with it, right,
Yeah.
right.
So with the book, so the soul stones, what are those exactly?
The soul stones actually are the soul stones, spell stones are one within the same. They're the soul stones for Ecclesiastes because they're dealing with resurrecting the souls of the Nephilim. Now, they're spell stones when they fall into the wrong hands of evil, which is the necromancer, Ramsonite, Pele Blue, the witch, and Nephedra, the sorceress, because they use it to do their bidding, using evil spells and things like that to kind of manipulate them to do what they want, dominate people, rule the world, resurrect the Nephilim, and all that jazz. I get more into explaining that too in depth in the series, but they are one within the same. It just depends on which team is using them and what for directly. So that's what they are. But they're basically also the angelic alphabet. There's in the books I deal with a certain a number of them. I don't deal with all of the angelic alphabet. It's just certain ones, but and they actually spell out a word in the angelic alphabet. I'll let people figure that out too. If you go back and look at all the pictures of her, even on her apparel, her skirt, the symbols, that's an alphabet, and it
Oh
spells a
wow.
word. And the ones she used all the time, those same symbols spell a word. And you could probably, I'll let people figure that out. But she uses those. That's her angelic alphabet and language that she uses, but it can get manipulated and used for evil with when the evil ones come about, which is the witches and the sorcerers and the all that jazz. Warlocks, because we got a warlock, we got a swamp warlock, we got what's his name, Euphrates, and he's in there. He's like a warlock, and so they're both always kind of trying to keep them in their own grasp, and she's kind of here to make sure that they don't get their hands on them to bring about the Nephilim that just wreak havoc on Earth.
Okay.
Yes,
So with the book, do you see yourself? And I mean, I know I've only gotten the first issue. And we talked a little bit about it before. How many issues do you have right now?
I have currently actually I have this is the fourth issue that's currently available. It's available in aluminum too. This is the fourth issue. The fifth book will be out. I'm going to say December, maybe December, possibly January. We pushed it back because we usually release a book on October, which is like Halloween.
Mhm.
But what happened was I introduced three new serials, two actually on Halloween that I'm going to be doing, which are coming out next year. And the third one I'm going to introduce when I release book 5. So I was working on that, and I figured I would go ahead and just introduce those and release the fifth book later, a little bit later, which I'm cool with. But it just gives us more room to go ahead and shell out the other issues within the same year if we decide to do it in January. That's all.
Cool.
So
So
that's
I would assume you, to my knowledge, I would definitely, I would assume that you're trying to build maybe a
universe.
universe of characters.
Yeah.
Now I saw some of the other titles. I know you were posting out some stuff
Yeah.
online. So are the other titles, are they sort of separate from the Soulstones universe, or are they connected in some form? Because I know it was you had some kind of, I guess, a horror type vibe to the.
Yes. I it's interesting. They're all esoteric serials, but they're separate from the Soulstones universe. Yes, they're not the same. The Apollo Room is dealing specifically with warlocks and that genre group of warlocks and dancers, and just based off of some of my own personal experiences, and just molding that into a series, which I think is going to be a super interesting series. It's going to be raw, and Soul Stones is going to get a lot raw too as we go on explore on into the books. But the Apollo Room is going to be really pretty raw. I've been talking to a lot of people who are really just kind of into that kind of stuff, and making sure people learn, like I said, and enjoy what they're reading. Then we have the Witches of Port Royal, which is going to be based off of the actual. This it's going to be fiction, of course, but there was a city called Port Royal, and it did sink. into the ocean off the coast, I believe, of Jamaica. And this was, I think, in the 1600s. It was very popular. It was very rich. I think a Blackbeard hung out there, but it became very corrupt. A lot of cities around the world used to stop there because it was a port city before you would go into, I think, North America. And I think on June 1st, the morning of June 1st, 9 or 9:30 in the morning, it was a terrible earthquake that just sunk, I believe, just was immersed it into the water. So I'm exploring a lot of that right now. And that's going to be a pretty interesting series too. The things that were going on there. So I'm excited about it. It's just a lot. It takes a lot of writing, a lot of getting the time to do it through auditions and just modeling, do whatever you can. Trying to get this stuff done. And traveling conventions and WonderCons and Comic Cons. So I have a team of artists who I work with. I do a lot of the designs and I kind of give it to them, and we kind of go back and forth a lot. And I edit it, and my attorney, who is Malcolm McNeil at Errant Fox, he does a lot of the editing because I made him a character. So he's a character now in the series. Gavin McNeil, he likes that, and it's based some of it off of his culture too. So it's exciting to see people really get interested in it, and be able to father it into different venues, like possibly, I would like to see it as a movie or an animated series or an action figure line or a video game. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Oh. Yeah. So now you were telling me now this is, and we'll circle back around to a couple other things, but
okay.
I know you were telling me you drew your artist growing up.
Yeah.
And now you sort of switched over to writing the book. Did you find yourself? I didn't know if you find yourself, and this is something that I sort of deal with at times. Is I'm developing my book series, and I'm not the best writer. I'm great at concepting the whole book. I'm really good at creating characters and environments and things like that. Did you find yourself sort of saying, okay, if I wanted to write the book, or like maybe you could write and draw. I didn't know if you had to sort of let go of the reins to be like, okay, I'm gonna give this to some artists and let them sort of figure out what obviously sort of corral it in with your vision, but give them the leadway, or did you feel like, this is, I didn't know if you felt like, okay, I'm just gonna be the writer and creator.
Strictly writing it.
Or did you feel like you had to,
it's funny you asked me that, because I actually never let anybody draw my work for years. But as I started getting more involved and getting more obligations and some things in the industry, I found it hard because each one demands 120% of your time. So I found myself going back and forth trying to figure out, I was exhausted myself. So I said, I'm just going to have to hire artists. I had to buckle down and hire artists to help draw my stuff, and because writing alone was taking a ton of my time, so I had to just hire an artist to draw my stuff, and I hired an artist, my first artist, which was Jackie Diaz. I think she's based out of New York. She's incredible, incredible artist. She's done a lot of stuff, commission stuff for DC Comics. So I was working with her for a long time, because I still kind of need to hire more artists, but I was just a little bit, I just was nervous, but I didn't want to do it. Then I hired another artist who was a veteran. His name is Derek McGee, and he's local. He's a young veteran, super good guy. He does a lot of murals around town, but very good at his work. And I still needed more help because it was a lot to take on. So I hired two more artists, one in Mexico City. His name is Jorge Odor, and one in Italy. His name is Stefano. And I'm super excited to be working with them. So just managing these artists, and my attorney helps me. We just we're a team, we're growing, marketers, we're getting marketing going on and branding, and just keeping it going, the momentum. It was a little bit tough for us during the pandemic because I wanted to start a leather jacket line, because we had denim jackets, embroidered denim jackets, trucker jacket, doing really good. And I wanted the leather jackets, but the pandemic hit, and the people I were talking to, all the suppliers kind of went under, or they just stopped producing. So recently in May of this year, I found a producer of the supplier to do the jackets, and I'm super excited about. I want to just show. Can I show? Well,
Yeah, yeah.
they come in different colors. This is a blue one. The blue ones look like this, and they have the embroidered logo on here, and then they
Wow.
have it on the back. In the back, and you can choose whether you want this title on it on the back or the circular. And they come in different colors. You got a brown one and a blue one. I just want to kind of show that. I'm super proud of it because
Man,
it
that
took
brown one's
so
hot.
long to get these done. And I was trying to talk to people and find people to do it. And we got them up on a website, and we've been selling them since then. They've been selling really, really well. So we have a different version coming, which is embossed. And then we're going to have versions of it where the lining inside of it is going to feature a page of the comic book. So it won't just be like some random lining, but that's going to be super cool. So we're working on that right now. But I'm super excited about that because to see, I mean, I almost kind of just threw in the towel with that. I can't find a supplier. The suppliers I was finding were too expensive, and I just found these guys. I was just like, oh, I'm so glad. So to see the series expand into things like clothes, hats, shirts, things like that it keeps me going, keeps my hopes up. I'm excited to see. I take suggestions from people. What are some things we can do? What are some things people are looking for? Yeah.
Huh. So what's been the overall I mean, for you personally, what's been the overall like feedback with the book? I mean, I know you've been going around, promoting the book. I didn't know for you if you had that initial feedback to feel like, man, okay, I am going the right direction.
I had mixed feelings. Anytime you do anything, I think slightly religious or slightly esoteric, you're going to get, backlash. Like I said, everybody has a different view of everything from a religious point of view, from an esoteric point of view. That's just the chance. That's the risk you take, and I'm okay with that risk. This is all my opinion. If you have an opinion, that's fine too. I respect that. Um, some people are super, super, hardcore religious. They're like, you know what? I think your character looked like she fell off a stripper pole. And I don't think you need to call her ecclesiastic. I've gotten all kind of crazy stuff. And some people are like, I dig it. I just don't dig the whole, that's not how you say a spell, or that's not how you. So I you nitpick. You take what you need, and you just keep going. I mean, I appreciate everyone's opinion. I'm open to everyone's suggestions and opinion. It's just that it doesn't mean it's necessarily the right one. And that's okay too. This is all objective. Abuse is subjective. When you do things like this, you create. You put your stuff out there. Everyone's going to have their own opinion about it, and that's respected. And you just keep pushing. Like I said, I've gotten a lot of crazy things, but it hasn't stopped me. You get more crazier stuff when people are a lot more bolder actually when you're online or when you're like doing this kind of stuff. People have questions, or they're a lot more bolder than in person. When you do book signings and going to conventions and stuff, they don't have much to say. Although a few times I kind of got I kind of got into it with someone about the series, about the Ecclesiastes, and
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
yeah, it's weird. Definitely, and I see it a lot, especially with comic books, movies, and
Right.
that everybody has their opinions on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's just weird. I mean, like I I don't know. It's one of those where like I, I'm sure that a lot of these people value the opinions and feedback,
Right.
but I feel like too, I'm sure with you and even others, you've got the circle of people that feel like, where you have that you know productive feedback and like, okay,
Yeah.
hey, maybe think about this or that, as opposed to like, well, they didn't say that spell right. I mean,
Right.
it's a story. I mean,
Right.
it's someone
Make
in their
believe.
own universe
Yeah.
and worlds. I mean, they can do whatever
Yeah.
they want to. Uh,
Right.
but so yeah, I think that just goes with the territory of someone that's doing their own thing and
Right.
marching to the beat of their own drum. I think you're
Yeah.
always gonna have
Right.
haters out.
People, I think people just like to hear themselves talk to sometimes. I like I said, it's just doing your own thing, marching to the beat of your own drum, like you just said, take what you need and just move on, and don't let it, stop you per se, but just, you listen, but then again, you don't listen, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
So, that's all I can really do. I've been doing this for a while now. And I'm excited to see where it goes, especially with these other serials, what we do with them, because we have a few music artists that I hired. A lot of comic book creators are doing soundtracks with their books. So I have these 3 music artists who are incredible, and I can't wait to see what they do. But I've been to a few of their concerts and a few of their performances, and they just really tear the house down. They're incredible. So I've talked to them, put them on non-disclosures, and told them what I'm looking for, and see what they come up with, and just have a blast with it. Just go crazy with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, like I said, I definitely love how you're, expanding this property and
Yeah.
leveraging it to different things. And that's what I definitely talk about with a lot of creators and everyone that's doing certain things is like, don't just create, that one thing. You can expand
Right.
it out to all
Yeah.
kinds of different avenues. I mean, I think
Yes.
it's limitless to, what you could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I said, I think with a lot of I mean, the music, the clothes, is especially with this, is a, no-brainer. Um, and so yeah, I mean, keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I applaud you, because like I said, not a lot of people is doing it. A lot of people talk about it, but
But
having
they don't do it. They
physical,
don't act.
yeah,
Fear,
yeah,
man. Fear. Scared of what people are going to say. Scared. You can't be that way. You got to do your thing. We acquired quite a few celebrity interests on this series. A few, I can't say who, but we acquired. There's 2 particular I can't talk about. One actress, she was in quite a few movies. She was in the Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell recently. This last one before this one, and she was in Halle Berry's movie King. And her name is Floor. And then we have Sebastian Large, and then we have he's on a show on Amazon called I can't remember, Sangra Negra or something. But you can Google him. He's French. So he does a lot of romance novels, but he was in Red Notice or something like that recently. And a lot of other people, a lot of celebrities, I come across just at the gym or just at conventions, who are interested, who I've had meetings with my attorney, and we've actually got non-disclosures on them, and they've give us their suggestions and some things they're interested in doing. So, and even then, it's, they have opinions, and some things they like, some things they dislike, but they still like it and want to be a part of it. And you gotta, just like I said, you take what you need and you keep going. I'm just glad that it's to the point where people can actually give you their opinion about it and express that kind of heartfelt interest enough to be able to give you constructive criticism, rather than just looking at it and saying, hey, this is nice, and keep moving on. But if someone can stop and just give you a detail, that's actually gold. And people sometimes can't take constructive criticism or any criticism. And I just don't advise you do this if you're that kind of person. You really need to be have a thick skin, because it's like anything in entertainment. You're going to get knives thrown at you. You got to still be able to pull them out and bandage yourself up and keep going.
yep, yep.
Yeah.
So with like I said, I know you had mentioned to me previously, or in a little bit. So you're a model too. So I know you got a lot of different things going. So you're modeling, and doing what else do you do?
I do. It's so funny. I was talking to someone just the other day about that, about a week or so ago. Yeah. And I started off when I came to LA in Santa Monica. I was going to the Art Institute. And it's funny because my counselor sent me to a job for a company at the time called Black Ops Entertainment. And they did video games and movie video games and all that stuff. So my first gig, actually, when I went in, I took my portfolio. And a couple of weeks before that, I took a headshot just randomly to have some. And when I took my portfolio for my art, my headshot fell out. And what happened was that I guess the line producer saw it. And she's like, "Can I see that?" And I gave it to her. And about a week later, I got a call, but I thought they were calling because they were hiring me to do the characters and design them for their games. And they're like, "Oh, we wanted to see, could you model for our boxing game? We had the boxing game, a Knockout Kings 2. It was Oscar De La Hoya's game. So I was happy, but I was sad because I'm like, I wanted, I was so I did it. It was good pay, and we met in Burbank. I met Oscar De La Hoya. He was the first celebrity I ever got to work with, and he was giving me pointers on how to pose as a boxer, and all that jazz. And it was fun. It was super fun, and I did like 3 or 4 other video games after that. But I started just doing a variety of things. A lot of life drawing classes, a lot of things like that. Interesting things. I don't really condemn anything I've done. I think everything's a stepping stone. Everything from Playgirl to sports video games to everything. I mean, everything I've done has always been tasteful. Has always been a stepping stone, and I met some interesting people along the way. I used to actually do some work on a show at the time called UPN. It was a network called UPN.
Yeah.
And my teacher, my acting teacher at that time was Kim Fields' mom. It was Chip Fields, and she got me on a show called The Parkers. So I wasn't. It was with Monique and sort of. I used to go to the set and learn how to how to walk and how to camera angles and stuff. And then from there, I started doing soaps, under fives on soaps like Days of Our Lives, and I always kept drawing and kept in my art going. But the acting thing and modeling thing kind of opened up before that. So that's what happened. And even after I graduated, it still kind of kept the acting thing opened up with action films, indie films like Wasteland and all that kind of stuff. So the art thing, just, it wasn't really popping for me until one day I got a letter in the mail and a copyright office. Someone in the office saw the work and they liked it. And they're like, you should be trying to push this. And I didn't know really how. And they gave me some pointers on how. They sent me some information about how. And from there, I just took it into the stratosphere. And I just started really pushing that. And I started using my acting venues and modeling venues to talk to people, to sow that seed. And they knew people in that, because it kind of all walks hand in hand. And I kind of started meeting people like that through, actors and producers and TV people. And they have friends who were artists on this. And it kind of grew. And that's kind of how I got into this. And then later on, I kind of met my past manager, knew Kevin Grievous, who is the creator of the Underworld movie series. And he actually was mentoring me, giving me pointers on how to turn my stuff into, a comic book, and then maybe possibly a movie, because that's how he had done it. So he was mentoring me for a while, a long time, and I still kind of hit up Kevin. Kevin, could you give me? I still kind of hit up God, but he helped me out a lot, mentoring on some stuff. So after that, I started just really going to conventions, and like I said, talking to this person, and this person tell me about this person or refer me to this person. And that's how it kind of happened, not being afraid to kind of put myself out there. I think sometimes people they let religion or they let past experiences stop them, or they're afraid of what their parents may think or what their friends may think or what their pastor may think or a counselor. You really have to have your own opinion and stick with it and not get distracted and go for it. Because like I said, a lot of things I've done were stepping stones, but I didn't get distracted. A lot of people I've worked with did, but I didn't get distracted. And I ran into a lot of people who see me now. They're like, you stuck with it. They're like, you really. I'm like, yeah. They're like, that was like 10 years ago. You're still. I'm like, yeah. They're like, wow, I can't believe you've progressed. So I'm like, well, yeah, because that's what I really want to do. I don't want to get distracted. I sense myself getting distracted and I reel myself back in. Some people can't do that, but I kind of have a sense for that, sixth sense for that. Yeah, so that's me.
That's good. That's good. So right now, I mean, creative tips. What's a creative tip or tips for our audience?
Um, Creative tips. Just stay positive. I know that's kind of like cliche, but stay positive. Surround yourself with people who have your best interest at heart. Now, you can have jealous-hearted people too, so be careful who you have in your circle. You don't have to be a product of your environment. Even as a little boy, I knew that. That's how I started all this. You don't have to be a part of your environment. Stop with all the, you don't understand. I do understand. My mom raised 4 boys in the projects being domestic violently, abused. And it turned out so you can make a choice. It may not be the choice you want then, but there are always choices you can make. Um, and really just stay headstrong. Don't you get distracted, that's fine. Just pull yourself back in, Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, it's yeah. I think a lot of people tend to, like I said, I grew up in the projects too,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people use that as a
Mhm.
crutch to
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes we we find ourselves being victimized so much that it gets comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, it's one of those where like we're not a product. Actually, that it's actually good that you're a product of the environment because it's if you're to see that you were raised in the projects, and you had literally all the statistics said that you were set up to fail, and you still come out and you're doing this, you're producing books and
Right.
modeling everything else. I mean, it's possible. It's just what
It
people
is.
decide, their choices and everything sometimes. And so, yeah, I mean, it's always refreshing to sort of see that. And I think for people that's going to watch this and listen to this, and maybe they're in that same scenario, to know
Right.
that, hey, this, Leon is a person that is, same scenario,
Yeah.
and now he's doing the things that he loves to do.
Right.
Um, so, so right now, I mean, before we sign off, what are some words of wisdom?
What you just said actually is incredible. You took the words right out of my mouth. What he said. Yeah, I want people to be able to see me and say, "Hey, I don't have to be in this situation, or I can turn out different." But my words of wisdom, um, you know, uh, there's nothing wrong with being a loner. It's nothing wrong with people misunderstanding you. You know your vision, and if people don't get it, that's fine too. It's not for them to get all the time. It's for you to get it. Because if you don't get it, you're not going anywhere. So know your vision. You are responsible for your future. Nobody else is. Only you. Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Mic drop on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, before we sign off, how can people reach out to you, get connected, purchase a book, Soul Stones, if you
Yes.
do get a chance to check it out and read it? What's the best way to reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to me, via email. Just Leon Dawes at hotmail.com, or you can go to Mistress of Souls 11 at gmail.com. We're going to be doing some revamping on the website, but you can go to the website at ecclesiastesmos.com. All this is lowercase. And reach out to me. That's where the website is. You can leave a message, pick up a book, get a jacket, a hat, a mug. But our books are also available on Amazon, Comixology, and also in Alternate Reality Comics in Las Vegas, Heidi Ho Comics, Santa Monica, JHU Comics in New York, Black Star Collectibles here in the South Bay. And we've got a growing number of places, Stronghold Comics in Oceanside. So we've been growing. We've been expanding in brick and mortar shops, which I'm excited about. But we're online. The Horror News Network has some advertisements for us. So just in different various venues, we're trying to keep up with and make sure there's a little bit of contact for everyone. Sometimes people can't get to a shop, or they can go online, or they can't get online, but they can go to a shop. So, want to be multifaceted in that area.
Yeah, most definitely. So once again, hey, thank you, Leon, for jumping onto the show. And like I said, for anyone that's listening or you watch this, please support your indie creators. People like Leon, other people that's doing their own thing, creating their own worlds and
Yeah.
universes. You help out. You help support them and help support their vision. And you're the ones that that really help keep them going. So if you can, please support all your indie creators, support your indie, your small businesses, comic book shops, coffee shops. I'm gonna do it, musicians, artists.
Yeah. all
it's
that.
especially around this time of year, please support them. I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, they are blessed with creative powers that God, the universe has given them. And and they're able to, manifest, things like this, put this things like, like soul stones, put these characters and universes out in reality. So, do what you can. Please support them in any form or fashion. Literally costs 0 cents to share out someone else's content. If you feel like you can't buy the book, share out everything they're doing.
Yeah, please.
So yeah,
Well,
everything helps.
please.
Thank you to my sponsors. Quick shout out to my sponsors before we leave. Baba Coffee, that's in Carlsbad, California. One of my favorite little coffee shops. They have live music every weekend, Friday through Sunday, starting at 6 p.m. And so they got some of my favorite jazz musicians like Soto Six, and some incredible shelves like Eliza the Shelf that's there. She was a chopped champion back in 2020. Yeah, check them out. Baba Coffee on Instagram, or you go to babacoffee.com. Another sponsor is Elevate Coffee Trading. They're one of my coffee sponsors. Like I said, they usually send out bags of coffee for me, so always appreciative. If you ever see one of my coffee cup
Oh
uh,
yeah.
that I do. I paint it with Elevate Coffee Trading. So that's the coffee that I use for a lot of the coffee cups. But like I said, got incredible coffee too, and they a lot of their proceeds, most of their proceeds go to helping coffee producing countries in Guatemala and then in areas in the United States.
Yes.
So you can check out their vision at Elevate Coffee Trading on Instagram, or you go to the website elevatecoffeetrading.com. Last sponsor is All Skill No Luck. They actually produce American-made, handmade flannel and accessories right here in Oceanside, California. So yeah, they got all kinds of merchandise, accessories. They tend to focus more towards the veterans, military, police officers. But they got a cool, like I said, cool vision. And I know the owners, and like I said, they've been great partners of mine. So definitely enjoy and like I said, love what they're doing with a lot of their things right now. So you can check them out at allskillnoluck.com. And I think they're in the process of actually rebranding a little bit. So they should have the new rebrand out pretty soon. But those are my sponsors. So I want to give a special shout out to them. But once again, check out Leon Dawes, Soul
Yes.
Stones. I'm gonna say this is a hidden gem. So don't. I'm gonna say this now for people that are, that may not have, caught on yet. Soul Stones.
Right.
In 5 years, it
Right.
happens to be on Netflix. Don't reach out to them then. I'm
Yeah.
saying it. So
Shout out to I want to say shout out to Flora de Maria Chawa. She plays the character Sharon Masters in the series, and Sebastian Large. He plays Luke. Yeah, like you were saying, we are actually in different acquisitions and positions right now. And I want to give a shout out to them for taking the time out to do so. Like you were saying, a lot of people may not know about it, but like I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that, because it is kind of a hidden gem that needs to be, kind of elevated a little bit.
yeah, yeah. So that's what I got today. Once again, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for all the listeners. Thank you for everyone that watches or listens. It gives me feedback. It helps me keep the show going. So once again, hey, be creative, stay inspired.
Thanks.